So we're a collective, and we are confusing Dave a little bit because he is not going in the usual way, and we're not giving him a specific name of a person because we are a collective. But we are here to answer any questions that haven't been answered, but also to provide some methods by which to further the healing of others. And we think specifically of your friend Sue. It will be useful if all of you just send love to her. Simply send love. This is something you can always do, and we would point out that along with the points that Dale and Kieran have made, just your presence, Carl, with your wife and the love that you feel for her, the fact that you would take the time to heal, is among the most important things. You will notice that when patients are in a hospital and they can hear the singing of monks, they improve much more quickly. There's something about the energy of the love, the energy of knowing that you are cared about, that is extremely helpful to all people. Much of the time, that is all that is needed. So when Dave sends the letter he has been procrastinating writing to Sue, it will be important for her just to receive the letter, to know that Dave has indeed written it. He has spoken and taken his time to do that. In terms of personal healing, there are some elements that Dave has figured out about this. That is, the other day when he had the experience, the psychological experience, where he was pointed to where the pain was and a scene unfolded before him. It was as a message from the body. That is, the shoulder was indeed speaking to him and saying, look at how you can be not as highly functional as you could be. We are not using negative terms here. We are putting this in a positive because it is a positive. Going back to that time and looking at the dynamics of what made Dave forget himself and move into the energy of others is something we want him to be aware of. This is a, let us call it a tripping point as opposed to a fault. Let us say that this is where Dave trips up sometimes. He forgets himself and rushes to be another person because that is his sort of proclivity, let us say that. Sometimes the body is trying to tell you something. It is asking you to become aware of something. It is interesting that the doctors, even the Eastern doctors, are not at all sure how to solve this problem. It might be that they don't really know. So now Dave is in a situation where he must solve it himself. And it's very interesting that when he found this out last night from the final doctor, he was not at all worried. He did not presume that it wouldn't work. He'd already gotten the message that he could indeed heal himself in these ways. We want to point out to Dave that he has to continue doing this. It is not a one-shot deal. It will be 20 days, 20 mornings where he goes into the event and heals it. He goes to the event by rewriting it. And we would ask that Sue do the same. What is the energy of the problem telling her? It's important to do this without a self-criticism. Dave could spend the time berating himself about how he shouldn't have done what he did. This is the opposite of what needs to happen. Should Sue go there, she needs to have incredible and complete sympathy for herself, whatever she is unaware of. There is a reason. And if she's pursuing an awareness, this will be helpful. So, for all of you and for Sue, just consider whatever physical or personal problem you might have, go there directly and watch it as a movie before you. This is just a first step. What dynamic shows up when you go into the energy of anything that is wrong per se? Don't judge it, just see it as it is. Mind what there is to learn. This is a message that has likely been speaking to you for some time. And because you are human, you have a little bit of difficulty hearing it. You can go into an analytical place or medical place, and there's nothing wrong with those, but they are limited. Find the pain and where it is. And for example, Carl, when you are working on someone, let them know, pay attention to things that come up. If there are visual things that come up for them or memories, it is on them to pay attention. This will help facilitate the learning because not only will you be working on them, they will be working on themselves. They need not continue a dialogue while you are working on them, but afterwards, they will likely tell you, I remembered something that I hadn't really thought about before. And then, Carl, it might be useful for you to just ask questions to help them solidify their understanding. As a second person, a person outside that person, you can be more objective, and intuition will lead you just to ask the right questions. This is not a question of diagnosing them. This is a question of them diagnosing themselves and you helping them along the way. We want to know that your work is perfect as it is. It doesn't need any shifts or changes, but consider what we have said just to see if it brings it just a few more inches long. We can say, Carl, that you are very much doing the right thing in terms of how you are healing others. It is absolutely beneficial how you are doing it. Do not doubt yourself and your work. As before, move into it with an exploration of, yes, what can I learn today? Along these lines, again, we would draw you to think about anything that is on your mind, anything that is bothering you. It could be psychological or physical, and go there just for a moment. Look, for example, at that portion of the body or that portion of your life and just let it explain itself. Why? What is it doing? What is it trying to tell you? No judgment here. No resistance either. What is it trying to tell you? Listen to the story and just listen. You might not need to draw conclusions now. That might happen later. As you are in that space of observing, you will be empowered. That is, you will understand yourself better and you will feel like you can change what is going on. This is why Dave is not at all worried about his shoulder. He already got the message that he can heal it, and he is beginning to believe that he can, or that universe can show him a way to do that. This is true for you. Once you begin the process of observing what the message is, you will have understood the body, or you would have understood the psychological experience and what it is trying to tell you. Once you've understood this, the activation will begin. It's not completed. It must be worked through over time. After all, Dave's shoulder has been bothering him for many years. It won't necessarily be understood in 5 minutes. It might be that Dave needs to revisit the psychological event, perhaps from different perspectives. Perhaps other events in his psychology will show up that he must acknowledge and look at, and best of all, see a pattern the body is trying to change. This can be true of a psychological experience. Something is perhaps on your mind. You do not know how to solve it. Perhaps it is a relationship to another. Rather than go to all of the feelings for a moment, you can go to that experience and look at it objectively, a little bit outside of feeling just for a moment, and ask, what is this trying to tell me? One important point is that you feel your power. When you are observing these things, again, we say somewhat objectively, you will see your power. You will see how you can understand what is wrong with the body, what is upsetting about some personal events. And once you see them, you will realize that they do also have value. We could go on like this, but we don't want to spend too much of your time. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much for the information you've given us today. Thank you for sharing with us. I have no questions.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Yes. Is it possible to teach people how to heal themselves when Carl is healing them during the sessions?
Yes, that is part of the process in a way. That is, Carl's wife only may have a vague sense of what is going on in her body. It could be somewhat distant. It could remain completed, even though it is understood only on a very unconscious level. That is, it might be that Carl's wife maybe prefers an emotional balance to a understanding type of balance. It is even more useful, however, if she will come to some revelations about herself. Perhaps she will remember unpleasant times. And this will give her the opportunity perhaps to speak about these unpleasant times with Carl or another, or just to understand them. This is not 100% necessary. It may be that it is not the best time for her to go down memory lane and to observe all of these things, and that for now, it remains unconscious. And just a sense of, this man loves me, he is doing his best, and he has powers. She may not go further, and it may not be necessary to go further. But Carl, for example, could teach his method to others who wish to learn it. And his clients are learning. They are learning that energy can be shifted. If that is all they learn, that is a great deal.
Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense.
You are most welcome. Feel free to ask any more questions before we depart. If there are none others, then we will tell you Thoth would be one way to address us. We, again, are a collective without necessary gender. This is who you have spoken with today, and we want you to know this. It's useful for you to know what kind of beings you are speaking to. And we just want to comment on the marvelous advancement all of you are making in this work. It may seem that you are moving slowly, but you are not. The work you are doing is remarkably good, and it is very well intentioned, which is one reason why it is so good. It is because you are not vain and selfish in regard to these energies and powers. Should you be such a person, the powers would disappear. You are going very much in the right direction. And now, with our love, we depart. And we will also send energy and love to those who are in need, who have been mentioned today. Carl, will you say
Can I?
your first name?
Sorry,
What is your wife's first name?
Nicola.
Yes. What is your question?
I was intrigued to ask, have you addressed us before? Have you addressed us in this group before, or is this the first time that you've visited with us?
We have been present, but we have not spoken.
Are you connected with any of us, or did you just come forward because you had information that you believed was relevant to us?
We are connected with you in the way that you go out into, let us say, the light. And as you get closer to the light, there are many beings around you, some of them more what you might call individuals, and some of them more what you might call collectives, although this is a poor reference. But as we come near, certain of us will step forward and speak. So one of us came to speak for Dale. That was appropriate now. Some of us will be sort of hanging about for some time, observing when is our time to speak, when is it more useful for contacting that energy. So yes, we are connected because we are anticipating the joy of speaking with you. And as we anticipate, the connection builds over time. It would be possible, for example, if you stopped doing this work, the connection would be broken. But that connection occurred the moment you went to the place of the light. You became connected with many positive and bright aspects of the universe. The important thing to know is positive, because it is possible to go in a not so positive direction when you go to meet spirit. Anybody who would, for example, want to use spirit for their own personal benefit above the benefit of others would not necessarily encounter such positive spirits. Their spirits would be a little bit more in shadow. It is not exactly the same thing when they are doing the work. So yes, we are very much connected. And don't forget that we are all connected in the light. That is, everything is connected. Our connection is closer because we have anticipated having such a conversation.